in prelims itself. I could not clear the first stage. After that, I did a little bit of introspection and changed my preparation strategy. And in 2018 exam, I was able to make it IRS income tax. The same year itself, I cleared Indian Forest Services also, which for all of us being from engineering background is an easy exam to crack if you are able to pass the first stage, which is CSE prelims, obviously. After getting into IRS IT, I had to make a decision whether to go for the next exam or just join this exam, join the service itself. But I decided that I'm this close, maybe just try once more. So I decided to write the exam once more, and luckily, with God's grace and everyone's best wishes, I was able to get into IAS with a good rank. So right now, I'm posted in Rajasthan cadre. Currently, I'm working in Jaipur. In Jaipur, I'm undergoing my district training, which is, if you know a little bit about our training program, it will be for 2 years. So right now, I'm in Jaipur getting trained for the next phases of the career. So this is what I'm doing right now. But obviously, this workshop is for civil services preparation. As I'm told, Rishita has said that in the beginning, I will need to take a workshop, as in just give you a little brief about my preparation strategy, and after that, I think we have a Q&A session. Is that right, Rishita? So should I start with my preparation strategy, or should I talk about anything else?
No, it's good. You can start with the preparation strategies.
Okay. So when I resigned from my job in 2016 and I came to Delhi in 2017. So the first choice that in CSE preparation that all of us and now all of you have to make is decide your optional. So that was the most difficult choice that I had to make for this exam. So I initially thought that I should go with geography because back then it was one of the most preferred optionals. I don't know what is the status right now, maybe anthropology, but back then it was geography. So I started reading geography books. Then I realized that I'm not at all interested in this subject because I could not focus even for 1 hour straight away. So I decided to give that up. Then I looked at a number of other optionals, and the first hurdle that I realized for me was writing skill. I was not very good at humanities optionals. I decided that writing skill is going to be a problem for me. So, because I had done BTech in engineering physics, so I gave all that up and I picked my physics optional, which proved to be a very good choice for me because that optional has really rewarded me in both my attempts, in both my mains exam. So I think all of you, like I took my time with optionals, all of you should also take your time. You should find your strengths. You should know your weaknesses. Like I did that. Humanities is not for me. I knew that, and I never even tried for that. A number of people do that, but you should know what your weaknesses are. So I took around 2 months to decide my optional. Then I narrowed down upon physics, and then I stuck with it. So that is going to be the first most important steps for all of you. After that, you have to focus on the general studies syllabus, which a lot of people prepare through coaching. I decided not to do coaching, but I decided to prepare on my own. Because a number of toppers, you will, if you browse YouTube, you will see a number of toppers have shared their strategy. You can follow any one of those which you think is most suitable for you. So I started with reading NCERT books. So for NCERT books, a lot of people start with the 6 to 12th strategy, which in my opinion is not advisable. You can go from 9th to 12th for most important subjects like geography, history, a little bit of environment. These 2-3 subjects you can prepare from NCERT. For all other subjects, there are standard books which you have to memorize from first page to last page because in every stage of examination, these questions are very important. So In the second stage of preparation, you have to read a certain standard books for each and every subject of GS. For example, polity. I will keep giving you the list of books also in this workshop only. You can ask me questions if you want to clarify anything, but I will just go in this pattern only. So for polity, which is the most important, one of the most important part of this exam, you have to read Lakshmikant, which is a Bible for polity syllabus for all UPSC aspirants. The second most important thing is for geography. As I told, like you can go with NCERT alone. For all the 3 years of my preparation, I only read NCERT, nothing else, and you are not needed to read anything else because it will just increase your workload. So just go with NCERT for geography. For environment, you can go for Shankar IAS book, which is a very good book for preparing your base for environment. On top of that, obviously you have to read current affairs, but I'm not going into that right now. Then comes history. For history, modern history is the most important part from prelims point of view. For that, you have to read a Spectrum publication book for modern history. For ancient and medieval, as well as art and culture, you have to read NCERT because NCERT is one of the best sources for these three topics, which is ancient, medieval, and art and culture. On top of that, for art and culture, a little bit of more knowledge will help you because prelims is heavily focused on art and culture of India. So for that, you can ideally you should read Nitin Singhania, which is what I did. Otherwise, you can add a little bit of I think Balyan is a good source of that. I don't exactly remember the name, but you can add that also in your preparation. Apart from that, science and technology, it's completely like you guys are all well aware about science and technology aspects because you are in IIT Delhi, but you have to add a little bit of current affairs knowledge to whatever you already know. On top of that, a little bit of biology preparation will also help you because, as you can see, obviously COVID pandemic, a lot of research has gone into biotechnology portion, and biotechnology is a favorite topic of UPSC and India as well. So you have to have a little bit of background knowledge of biology, which you can learn from NCERT books. Any 11th or 12th standard NCERT book, just go through it once. You will understand the concept, and it will help you greatly. Economics, you can either watch Mronal videos from YouTube or there is a very wonderful book from Sriram IAS. It is like hardly 200 pages, but for basic preparation, it is a very good book. It will actually enhance your knowledge of basics of economics, which is like it is one of the most favorite topics of UPSC, both in prelims and mains. And sometimes interviewers also ask you basic concepts of economics. So you have to have a good grasp on that. So these 6, 7 subjects, for that you have to make your basic foundation preparation very strong. This is like you cannot avoid that. This is non-avoidable at all levels. So read these books as many times as you can. When you have a good grasp on that, you can move on to the next step, which is adding the current affairs knowledge to whatever you already know. Unless you have a good grasp on the foundation, this current affairs it will flow over your head. A lot of people come to me and complain that I read newspaper and I don't understand what is going on, what are they talking about. You will not be able to relate to any of the current affairs unless you know the foundation. So work on your foundation, move on to next step, which is current affairs. Current affairs, you have it is highly advisable that you read one good newspaper every day. From front page to the last page, you have to read it completely. Over a month or two, you will understand that some portions are more important than the others, and then there is like some 30% of the newspaper is just plain garbage. You don't have to read that at all. Once you have come to the stage where you know that this portion of the newspaper is important for CSE preparation, you will understand that you have actually come a long way in your preparation. When you don't have your foundation strong, a lot of people keep giving 2 to 3 hours in newspaper even when they are 2 to 3 years into their preparation, which is a waste of time. You can actually finish a good reading of a newspaper in 1 hour to 90 minutes if you have a good grasp of what is important for CSE preparation. Once you have come to this stage, that current affairs has become a daily part of your preparation, you should be able to attempt mock test. There are so many mock tests available in the market. Pick any one of that. Vision IAS, Forum IAS, Insights IAS. You will find a number of test series is available. So the next stage of this exam is practice. After you have accumulated this much knowledge, you should start practicing with mock test. Before prelims examination, I used to solve one mock test every day, and I finished at least 40 tests. So you can imagine, like, writing 40 tests in a straight manner for 2 months. It is going to be hard, but this is what is required for prelims preparation and qualifying this exam. So you should plan your preparation in a way that before 2 months you have covered all the syllabus, and once the clock starts ticking 2 months to the prelims, you should be able to write mock test every day and finish at least one set of one set of test series before you actually sit into the prelims paper. And you should be able to write your mock test in an exam-like manner. Don't be distracted with your phones. Don't be distracted with your family or anything. You should just sit alone in a room for 2 hours and write your test with utmost concentration that you can do. Once you have gone through this process 30-40 times, you are actually mentally, intellectually ready for the main prelims exam, which is anyway very stressful. The day you sit to write this exam is so unpredictable. The questions are so unpredictable. You will be highly stressed. So you should be prepared for this sort of exam. One important thing that a lot of people tend to ignore is CSAT exam. Though it is qualifying in nature, you only need to get, I think, 66 to 70 marks to clear that CSAT paper. But a lot of people, even from IIT Delhi, that I was preparing with, were not able to clear CSAT exam because in recent year, it has become tougher. So you should be prepared with that also. If nothing else, solve last 4 to 5 year UPSC question paper of CSAT and see how you perform. Some people are naturally good at it, some are not. The people who are not good at it need to prepare it, but do not ever dare to ignore it just because you are in IIT Delhi or in a engineering in a good engineering college. A lot of people tend to make this mistake, but don't be so overconfident unless you have tested yourself. So this is all about prelims preparation. The next stage is obviously mains. The mains is a stage where your optional comes into picture. I've already told you about GS preparation. The 70% of what you prepare for prelims GS will be used for your mains GS syllabus. The only difference is practice of answer writing. Answering a objective question is way different than answering a subjective question. So for subjective question, you need to write 150 to 250 words depending on the nature of the question. You need to be highly efficient in preparing a mental structure, what the question has asked you, what you're going to answer. Are you covering all the relevant point that they have asked? Are you using the right kind of keywords? Are you using the right kind of diagrams? All this comes from practice. So as I told you, after you have reached a certain level of stage in preparation, you should start writing mock test for prelims. Similarly, once you're done with prelims exam, you should start practicing for the mains exam. So answer writing is very important part of this examination. Unless you prepare for answer writing, no matter how much you study, when you're sitting for 3 hours in the exam hall answering 20 questions, it becomes very difficult. It becomes highly difficult. If any one of you have read any of the UPSC mains questions, it will seem like a riddle because they put so much information, they put so much unnecessary information that the relevant parts are lost. And if you have not practiced, you are not able to narrow down on the relevant part of the question and write a relevant answer, which will fetch you good marks. So again, the practice comes into picture. Once you have studied, the practice becomes the most important. You practice repeatedly. You do it in iteration. You do it in cycle, and in every cycle, you become slightly better. With every practice, you become slightly better, and you have higher chances to gain more marks. This is just about these iterations that you have to perfect, and I'm sure you understand this process better, because this is what makes you perfect for this clearing the stage with very good marks. And keep this in mind, that whatever marks that you gain in mains is going to decide your rank. Interview is like, don't depend on interview. It is like a gamble. You don't know which board you're going to get. You don't know what questions you're going to get. You don't know what marks are you going to get. But mains you can master. So this is all about GS. Then comes the essay part. For essay, you don't have to prepare any separate content. Whatever you study in GS, and if you have humanities optional, then obviously content of your optional. Whatever you have studied in that, you can use all of that depending on the essay topic. You don't have to prepare it separately. The only thing you have to do is write essays before the exam. So I used to write 2 essays every week. So you can count, like, for 12 weeks, I had written 24 essays before I actually sat down for the exam. So once you go through this process again and again, every time you learn about yourself something new. You learn about essay topics. You learn about what to write, what to reject, what to accept. So this iteration is very important. And for essay topic, I will say one thing: always get your essay checked from someone. Don't just write it and put it away. You get it checked from someone, you read it again and again, and you think that whatever you have done, is it like, can you do something better? If someone else has written something, is there something better that you can adopt in your preparation? So all this process of all this iteration of self improvement is very important for essay marks. And essay marks, you have to excel at it, because essay and ethics, these are the two things which are in which you can score very easily. If you put a little bit of preparation, like just writing 3 hours every week, you can get very good marks in essay. You don't have to prepare any extra content. You just have to sit and write with patience. So that is all about essay preparation. There is nothing more to be said about it. It's just your preparation and your practice. The optional, it completely depends on what sort of optional you have chosen. If it is a science optional, I can guide you in that. If it is a humanities optional, then I don't have any expertise in that, so I won't go into that domain. For science optional, the syllabus is very static. For last, if you look at past 10 to 15 year question paper, they have been asking similar type of questions over and over again. So it is just about practicing whatever syllabus is there multiple times, and you can actually excel at optional. This is what I did. Physics is a very static optional. It does not, like, that every year nothing new happens in that. You don't have to study current affairs for that. It is a static optional. If there is a syllabus on mechanics, then same sort of questions will be asked every year. Just numbers will be different, situation will be different, but the same formula, same theory will apply there, and you can actually get good marks in those. So this is true about chemistry also. Math requires a lot more practice than physics or chemistry, but math is highly rewarding optional as well. People in last few years have been gaining at least 30 to 35 marks extra, marks over what other options have scored. So if you think you are good at maths, I would advise that you should go for it, because it is a highly rewarding optional if you are willing to commit yourself to this optional. So if you guys ask more questions about optional, I will obviously tell you, but this is from my side. Then the next stage in the preparation and obviously the exam is your interview. So interview is actually known as personality test. It is about checking your mental ability to comprehend a question and answer it in a structured manner. This is what is required. How do they check it? They ask from you that you prepare your CV, which in UPSC terminology, it's known as DAF, which is Detailed Application Form. In that form, they will ask you about your background, your work history, your education history, your interest, whatever awards you have gotten, your sports interest, all these things they will ask in a simple format. And they will ask questions on basis of these things also, apart from what is happening around you in the world, which is current affairs. So these two are the most important part of your personality test. Current affairs, do you know well enough to answer what is happening around you in your world? Do you know enough about yourself to answer about yourself in a structured manner? So they will ask questions from these two areas only. Now you just have to practice it over and over again. Stand in front of a mirror, ask questions about yourself, answer to yourself. Keep practicing it every day. Then you go for mock interviews. In mock interviews, obviously, there are a number of coaching institutions that organize it. They will have a panel of 5 people. They will try to imitate a real life personality test environment in front of you. In some coachings, they actually invite retired IAS, IPS, IFS officers who will ask questions like what you will be asked in a real UPSC interview. So you go practice with them, give at least 4 or 5 mock interviews, take their inputs, reform yourself, improve upon the areas that they have told you, and just keep practicing. In the end, when you are sitting in front of the interview panel, you should reflect that you're confident about yourself, you're confident about your knowledge. Even if you're wrong, it doesn't matter. I've been wrong at number of times. In 2 interviews, I have embarrassed myself with stupid answers, but that doesn't matter. I was confident enough that, okay, if I'm making mistakes, I'm willing to accept it. Even if I embarrassed myself with a stupid answer, I just apologized to them saying that I don't know much about this. So uh, please ask me a different question or whatever. So you can always excuse yourself. But the key to interview is to be confident about yourself, your knowledge, your background, and present yourself in a structured way. That is all what is required. Just don't make any controversial statements. Don't say anything which is politically wrong or goes against the constitution, goes against the law of the country. You can't say any of that. There are like four or five things that you have to keep in mind that you can't do. Don't insult anyone. Don't demean any community, caste, or don't show any sort of biases. As long as you are away from these areas, you will do decently in interview. And it is my advice to everyone whoever comes to me for asking about interview. I would say don't rely upon that, because it's actually a gamble. You have to give your best in mains. Though I have gotten good marks in interview, but even if I were to appear again, I will not assume that I am going to get 200 marks in interview, so I can relax a little bit in mains. I know that if I were to appear in interview next year, I might get 150 to 160 marks, because sometimes the interviewer who is asking you questions may have a higher standard of what a CST aspirant should look like. So you don't know what is going to happen. So don't ever rely upon that. It might be your good luck that you will be getting very good marks, or you are an exceptional candidate. If you are an exceptional candidate, you know that. But if you're an average candidate, then you should always give your 100% to mains examination. So I think I have briefly summarized what I did in preparation. And if anyone has any specific questions, please ask. I will go into detail for those aspects.
Hello, ma'am. So I'm Chinna. I'm also the executive at Office of Career Services. So first of all, thank you for putting the whole information in such a structured way. Like I had so many doubts in my mind before this session, and as you were speaking, like most of the doubts got cleared. Like I had a doubt about optional subject. Like I had the chance of having a conversation with some of my seniors in IIT only, who were preparing for UPSC, and most of them are taking animal husbandry and anthropology types of optionals, and I had that question in my mind, like how can we start from scratch for reading something which we aren't interested in. I personally am very much interested in mechanical subjects of mine, basically mechanics only, physics and mathematics. So like you answered it, and it was really great. The only question which is left in my mind, which is stuck, like how you like we had a subject like SBL, like it's all about mugging up. So one thing I've noticed that after coming to IIT, like we are more into question solving, so it's really difficult to remember the detailing. So like there's so much of syllabus in UPSC, like how did you manage to remember all such things?
Hi, Chinmaya, right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah.
okay. Okay, so you have asked two, three questions in one go. Not
So
like
sorry, shall I repeat?
not like UPSC at all. So your first question was, how do you study a subject that you have never studied from scratch, like
Yeah,
anthropology, you
yeah,
took for an
yeah.
example. So actually, whatever subject you take, you will, once you start reading it, you will realize you have studied something of it in your school. So it will not be from scratch. Anthropology also, I'm sure, when you start reading it, there will be some portion of it that you have studied in school. Then you build upon that knowledge and you go deeper into that domain. So actually, you raised a very good point that what I started with, that I was not interested in geography at all. I started reading it. I gave my 1 month of preparation into it, and I realized that I can't stick with this optional. This optional is too boring for me. Like there was nothing. It did not interest me at all, and I realized that I cannot study this subject for 1 year if I'm not able to read it for 1 hour. So it is actually a lot about your interest. So you have to devote your time on it. I don't know on what basis people are taking animal husbandry. I can understand anthropology because right now a lot of people are going for anthropology. They think the syllabus is quite smaller compared to other optional. These are the parameters that people go with. It is fine. Some people will succeed, some people will not. This is going to be happening to all the people who are preparing. Some people will have a good luck with the optional that they have chosen, some people will not. But I think the optional that you take, you should be content with it, that you have made the right choice. That can only happen once you are sure that you are interested in this optional. Once you're sure that you will be committing 100%, your 100% to this option, whatever is required, you will do this. You will do that thing to excel in this optional. So I think that sort of uh, you should be aware. That sort of self awareness should be there in you if you are to excel in one optional. So I mean, my advice to any one of you who is thinking of taking a new or humanities optional, just devote your time, read the syllabus, look into past year questions paper, look into the topper's answer, how they have answered. Do you have the capability or the skill to answer in that manner? So, a lot of people who come from IIT, I've seen that, like not IIT, from technical backgrounds, uh, some of them have difficulty in writing humanities answer, or difficulty in writing essays, or difficulty uh, in framing a decent answers. So, if people are weak in writing skills, my advice to them would be not to go for humanities optional because it will be difficult for you. I knew that about myself. I did not score well in essay. I knew that I will have a lot of problems. I was very weak in writing. My writing skills was always weak. So I decided not to test this. Decided not to anchor my UPSC preparation around a humanities optional because it is shorter or because people are going for it. So you should be aware about your weaknesses and strength. I knew that I can do physics. This is what my strength is. I've studied it for 4 years. I know that you have to write formulas, you have to do some derivations, and you'll be done with it. And this worked well for me. So you should be aware about yourself. Your second question was remembering a lot of things, because now we are more into analytical stuff, not in mugging up.
Yeah.
So because we are good at analytical stuff, we can also remember better. You can make mind maps. You can find connections, that this thing is connected to this event, And that's why this is happening. We are able to, because we are good at analytics, we are able to actually put a lot of different things in one picture, connecting all of that, uh, uh, understanding event and cause analysis. This is all that is there to remember in GS. This is how I memorized everything. Ancient history used to be one of the most frightening subjects for me. But once I did this exercise for 1 week, I could remember what happened in Vedic period. I could remember what happened in Maurya and Gupta period. What was happening around other parts of the country at that time, because I made a mind map. I connected all the events to each and everything, and I remembered all of whatever happened in ancient history or medieval India because I was good at that. And I think a lot of people who are doing engineering right now in IIT Delhi also have that skill. You just have to be a little bit patient. You just have to practice it over and over again. And if you stick with it, I'm sure all of you will be able to do it. A lot of people who are coming from other sorts of background, they are good at memorizing. But memorizing a lot of things in isolation is frying for you. But once you are able to develop connections, it is very easy. Trust me, it is very easy. And you will enjoy the process also.
Thanks a lot, ma'am, for answering. We also have some other questions in the chat box. So, first question is from Animesh Srivastav. What should be the strategy of preparation if one is also pursuing a job, and what type of coaching is suitable?
Okay, if you are pursuing a job, are you working or pursuing a job? These are two different scenarios. But if you're working and thinking of preparing, then my advice to you would be go for an easier optional, because optional will take a lot of time for you. And then obviously for the coaching part, nowadays there are a lot of online coachings. I think Vision IS is doing quite well, though I will not recommend anything in particular, but this is what I've heard, that it is doing particularly well. There are other coachings also that you can join. uh, but for me, I did not join anything for GS. I only took up Vision IS test series and I solved those. So for the people who are pursuing job, the preparation strategy is almost the same. It's just you have to be more efficient in your preparation than people who are doing it full time, because they have more time on daily basis. They can take 10 hours per day, whereas a person who's doing a job will only be read for 3 to 4 hours. So you have to be highly efficient how you devote your time. You have to be more aware of your strengths and weaknesses. You devote more of your time on important parts like polity, environment, uh, modern history, science and technology. These are the low hanging fruits. So you devote more of your time in those, and you get to the level of perfection that whatever question they ask you from these areas, you will be able to answer that. So actually, nothing different is for people who are doing jobs and people who are doing full time preparation. Just be more aware. Just be more efficient. That's it.
Ma'am, we have another question. That is, what is the role of coaching and right time to join it?
uh, right time to join it, like the right time to join it whenever you feel is the right time, because whether you join the coaching or not, in long run it is not going to make a difference. But if you have time to join it now, do it now. If you feel that maybe you need it later, some parts of the coaching you need it later, join it later. But the role of coaching institution is to prepare a foundation for you. The foundation that I talked about in the beginning, that I did with NCRT preparation, they will give you the basic knowledge. They will teach you that. So coaching will only help you in preparing your foundation of the preparation. Whatever you have to build on top of that, which is current affairs, your practice, your mock test, that you have to do by yourself. So that is the role of the coaching. So my advice to you will be go for a coaching that will not waste your time. So do your research. Don't go for a coaching which indulges you in a lot of extra stuff which is not required. like IIT JEE coaching, a lot of people used to teach some random foreign writer's book, which is not required for that examination. You can clear the JEE exam without reading Irodov and all also. That was not required. Similarly, in UPSC coaching also, they will teach you Irodov version of CSE, which is not required. I told you the basic books. If you master that, you will be able to nail the exam. So just do your research. Don't go for the coaching that will teach you for 6 hours every day and you don't have any time left for your own preparation. So keep those things in mind. But trust me, even if you don't go for coaching, it is not going to harm you as long as you are committing 100% to this exam and make your foundation by yourself. And all of you, I believe in all of you that you guys are intelligent enough to read these basic NCRT books and prepare a foundation of knowledge that is required for this exam.
Ma'am, one of the question is how can we prepare for current affairs?
For current affairs, first thing is you start reading newspaper right away. Doesn't matter in what stage of preparation you are, you start reading it and try to make sense of it. Some people who have better knowledge of who have extra interest otherwise in whatever happening around the world, they will be able to understand it better. Other people will take some time, but it will come with time. So you start reading one newspaper, either Hindu or Indian Express. I will recommend Indian Express because it is very easy to understand for the beginners. The second portion for current affairs is take a monthly magazine of any one good coaching. I was reading Vision IS monthly magazine. They come out with their monthly versions on around 15th to 20th of every month. You start reading it. They have categorized into polity, environment, economy, IR. These sort of they have categorized their content like this. It is very helpful for you because on top of that, they also analyze each and every issue. For example, if war between Ukraine and Russia happened, they will give you a full synopsis of what is the war about, what is the history of the war, how is it going to impact the world in general, how is it going to impact India, what can India do, what are the options for India, what are the platforms that India can access to solve this crisis. On top of that, they will also tell you, for example, Ukraine and Russia war is impacting Sri Lanka in some other, in some ways. They have some right now they are into crisis, debt crisis. So how does that affect India? So it is like they will give you a synopsis of each and every issue in this manner, which will help you a lot in understanding each and every current affair issue. So you should pick any one good coaching monthly magazine and you stick with it. You don't need to do any more of that. If you do that, you are just wasting your time because you have already read the newspaper. You just need a synopsis of the issue and then you are ready to answer the questions. Don't do more than that. Once you keep, if you have the habit of increasing the material that you are studying, it will become difficult for you to revise that. So keep your materials limited. So for current affairs, two things: stick with a newspaper, stick with a monthly magazine. That's it.
Ma'am, we have a question. I'm planning for opting physics as my optional, but I've heard that it's a bit difficult to get proper guidance for science subjects. Is it true?
Uh, for math, yes, it is. Like you will not be able to find a coaching for that. For physics, I went for there is a coaching institution which is called DIAS. I took coaching in that because obviously I was out of touch from physics as a subject for 2 to 3 years before I started preparing for it. So I took 4 months coaching for optional in DIAS coaching center. So Vajpayee sir is there. He will guide you for the basic foundation of physics. From there, you can easily sail it. It's not very difficult after you have done that coaching.
Uh, Ma'am, one of the question is how to prepare notes. Any tips?
How to prepare notes? So for GS mains, I prepared notes, not for prelims because Prelims, if you start preparing notes, it will become quite bulky and as bulky as the books itself. So I did not prepare notes for prelims. For mains, I took the syllabus for GS 1, 2, 3, 4. In the syllabus, they have written their topics. For example, take the ethics, which is GS 4. They have one topic, which is values of public services. So you write values of public services on a plain sheet of paper. You write the values. What does that value mean? Accountability is one value. What does accountability mean? You should be able to write the meaning of accountability in one sentence. So you write the meaning of accountability. Now write the examples of accountability. How does accountability help you in public services? What are the drawbacks if people are not accountable? So you make a structured note, 4-5 broad headings, and you write it. Take a topic in polity, which is federalism. What does federalism mean? How does federalism look like in India? What are the aspects of federalism? What are the enabling provisions in constitution that for federalism? Then you write examples of that. So 1-page note on each topic of main syllabus. This is how you prepare notes. That is how they are going to ask questions also. In UPSC questions, if you look at past 4 years questions from GS mains, you will see they have asked simple, straightforward questions like that. What are the aspects of federalism in India? How does constitution enable it? You have already prepared notes on it. You read it. You have revised it. You can easily write answers on that. This question they will ask in 10 different manners, but the answer will still be the same. Take a topic of paper 3, which is, let's say, cyber security. What does cyber security mean? Write some data and statistics of cyber security in India. For example, how many cyber attacks are happening per year? What is the economy in cyber digital world that is going to be affected if something happens to India's cyber security? Then write the important laws for cyber security in India. Write the pros and cons if cybersecurity is not there. That's how you prepare notes. That's what they're going to ask in question paper also. So 1-page note for every syllabus of all the GS papers. That's how you do it.
Ma'am, other question is, as the syllabus is huge, after how much time it is good to revise it?
Once you have gone through first iteration of preparing all the topics, you can start revising it. For example, there are 7 standard subjects for prelims. So read all the foundation books for that. Then you start revising it. That's what you do. You start revising once you are done with the syllabus once. That's it.
Ma'am, other question is, what was the YouTube channel you mentioned for economics?
Mrunal sir, someone has answered right next to it.
Okay.
These
Yeah.
are old videos, but if you have difficulty in understanding economics, you should go through this video. If you're good at economics, you can start reading any standard book. I faced a problem in economics, understanding the concepts of it, grasping it. So I watched Mrunal sir's video. These are like very simple videos. They will teach you like you are kids. And once you have watched this, you will be able to understand what they are talking about in newspapers.
Ma'am, one of the question is how to keep yourself motivated during the whole journey.
See, motivation comes only from the fact that you're progressing in your journey. If you are working in a job, if you think that you are not making any progress, you're not contributing in any meaningful way, then you will not be motivated about the job. So if you are in college, you will be motivated only if you're making progress. Maybe you're doing something new each and every day. Maybe you are getting good GPA. Maybe you are very good at, let's say, acting or singing. You are good at sports and you're making progress every day. That's how motivation comes from. The same thing applies to CSE preparation as well. As long as you keep progressing each and every day, you set your targets for every day, you complete it. Next day, you will be automatically motivated to do the next portion. If you are on daily basis, if you're not finishing your target, next day you're sitting and looking at the same chapter which you were supposed to do yesterday, how will you be motivated to read that chapter? You will not be. So keep making progress, and progress comes from practice, iteration, self-improvement. It is a difficult process, but that's how motivation comes from. And once you have started progressing in your journey, you will realize that you are interested in preparing for this exam. The other method of checking your progress is to join a test series, go write that, see how much marks you're getting. Maybe first time you got 60 marks, next time you are getting 70 marks, 80 marks, 90 marks. You see you are making progress, you are writing better answers, you are reaching closer to your target, which is 110, 120 marks in GS one paper. So as you start seeing your progress in these marks, you will be motivated to do better. So that's how you keep yourself motivated during the whole preparation journey, which was the exact question by Pradeep.
Ma'am, one of the question is where to prepare, whether sitting with other aspirants preparing or alone in a room.
See, this is completely up to you. If you can you can study properly with others, you can do it with them. If you can do it better alone in a room, you should do it like that. There is no standard method for that. It's completely up to your strategy, completely up to your personality.
Ma'am, one of the question is which stuffs in college matter for success in UPSC? CGPA, sports, clubs, PORs, if anything matters.
See, your personality contributes more to the success in civil services, and all of this is part of your personality. If you're interested in sports, they will definitely ask you a question in interview about the sports that you're interested in. That might fetch you a lot of marks. If you are good at studies, obviously you will be good at preparing for the exam. The extracurriculars, those are part of your personality. That broadens your horizon, that develops your personality, which reflects automatically in your personality test. So if you're interested in those, don't hold back. You should be, the college is the time where you are supposed to develop your personality. Don't hold back just because you're thinking that you have to clear civil services. Civil services, right now I am in the service, and trust me, if you don't have any interest in life, it can become very boring for you. So whatever you're doing in college is for life, not for the exam. So don't hold back.
Ma'am, one of the question is how much work independence, like for starting an initiative, is available in a civil servant job?
So I can talk about my service, which is IS. A lot of independence is available for people in IS to start their own initiative. In fact, they encourage it from every level of the service, which is like right now I'm at the lowest level in IS, but the collector, who is my boss, district collector, who is my boss, he encourages me to contribute with ideas. Then there are secretaries, there is chief secretary, everyone in the state will encourage you to do something new. And trust me, in a district where you're working, there will be so many problems. If you come out with a workable solution, you will have ample scope to implement it. As an STM, which will be our first posting, we are practically in charge of each and everything that is happening in our jurisdiction. And if you have a good idea which is implementable, you can do it. You have full power to do it. On in every law on paper, you have a lot of power to implement that idea. As COZP, you get lots of financial independence. You get so much finances to develop a village. If you have an idea to get rid of a particular problem, you can implement it. You will have financial support to do it. As a collector, you are in charge of a district. You can implement any good idea that you want. So in this service, you have lots of scope to do that. In other services, those are domain specific, those are technical services. Like police is a technical service. You are required to manage crime. So actually, like, independence will be less because your job description is limited, but still it is an enjoyable job because the nature of it is completely different. Similarly, about other services also, because those are technical, so you might have less scope to do it, but in this service, which is IS, you have a lot of scope to do that.
Ma'am, there's one more question. After how many attempts do you think that a person should give up if he doesn't clear even prelims?
uh, if you're not even clearing prelims, I think See, that's a difficult question because clearing prelims is the first stage itself, and there are two more stages to it, which require a lot of practice and lot of iterations to progress. But if you're not clearing prelims, maybe you can try up to 3-4 attempts. After that, like the chances of clearing that are slim. But I've known people who have cleared prelims in their fifth attempt, and then in that attempt itself, they have been able to make it through the exam. But those cases are exception. You just have to believe. If you are in that difficult situation, then you should be able to believe in yourself. That's all. Like, I can't actually answer those questions because I have seen people like that, but very few in number. So ultimately, then it depends on the individual grit and motivation. If they are willing to write twice more, then it's up to them.
One of the question is, do you think work experience gives edge over those candidates who are preparing just after graduation?
In preparation, it does not. It does not give any extra edge or anything. It just might make you more comfortable uh, if you are preparing after working, which was the case with me. So I felt like I was not missing out on anything in the world. I had worked for 2.5 years. I had traveled. I had lots of fun. So when I started preparing, I felt like I was not missing out on the world. I have had my share of independence. I have had my share of freedom. Now I can sit and write the exam. But some people who are preparing just after the graduation and they were into their third and fourth attempt, they were actually a little bit more anxious than I was, because for them it was like they don't have any work experience and they have wasted 3-4 years of their lives, which is not true. Even if you have devoted 3-4 years in life, when you're not able to clear it, you can still get a job. A lot of my friends have done that and they are right now earning very well also. But then it's part of human nature. You start feeling that you're missing out on the opportunities that are there in the world is moving ahead and you are stuck in a place. So that sort of feeling does develop over the time. So the only edge that you get is your mental peace. That's it, nothing else. In preparation for a person who is doing just after graduation or a person doing after 3 years of job, it's the same thing. You are starting on the same level, you have the same level of knowledge, you have to work equally hard.
Ma'am, can you suggest any coaching for mathematics optional?
Really sorry, I don't know about any coaching in mathematics optional. When I was preparing, uh, there were no coachings for mathematics. There was only a test series from some Ramalingam or something. I don't exactly remember the name. They only had test series. I don't know what is the situation now, if there is a coaching or not. Maybe next IS has one, but I'm not sure about the quality of that. Uh, but most people I know from mathematics optional had prepared by themselves on their own without any coaching guidance.
So, ma'am, we are done with all the questions that were there in the chat box. Uh, Thanks a lot for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us, for answering all our queries and rounding up everything so well that everyone just understood everything.
Not at all. It's my pleasure. And I'm sure everyone did not understand everything. They will face problems in future as they go along with their preparation. But the beautiful thing about that, like life, you learn when you make mistakes. So that
Yeah,
will happen here
definitely.
also.
Definitely.
It's like that only. Everything you see, if anywhere else, it will be true for this preparation also. So I think someone is asking for email ID where they can write any query. So I'll just give my email ID on the chat. You can send me a mail. So just email me on this mail ID if you have any more queries. Whenever I get time, I will reply to all those queries. And obviously, thanks to Rishita and Chinmaya for inviting me. And I'm glad that I was able to help out. Someone is getting very efficient. How much time it will take to reply? So it depends on the timing of the mail. if you have mailed me during office time, it may take a lot of time. If you have mailed during, let's say, weekends, you might get the response immediately. So it's up to you. Uh, anyway, so rounding up, thanks to Rishita and Chinmaya for inviting me on this platform. I am very happy that I could help out even few of the people out there in IT Delhi. And I am always available to guide all of you. If you need my help, just drop a email. And if required, I will share my number also. You can drop a text also. So just let me know, whatever be the case. And thanks again to all of the people for listening to me repeat all this thing over and over again. But I hope that I helped out someone there. So with that, I would wrap it up.
Thank you, ma'am, for your kind words.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Probably we are also done with our time limit that we were given.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was really our pleasure hosting you. So thank you, ma'am.
Thank you
so
so
much,
much.
ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you
Bye,
to
everyone.
all the people who came with us to listen. Thanks a lot. Have a nice day.